So let's look at what makes a finished installation and review a few general principles that will apply to virtually every installation and understand the standard that we're aiming for. First, the entrance matting is fitted flush with the surrounding floor coverings, ensuring safe and easy access. Second, the matting profiles run at right angles to the primary traffic direction, giving it optimum capacity to remove dirt and moisture. Thirdly, the panel splits or T-bars are correctly positioned either side or outside of the main traffic flow. Next, we have rib alignment right across the mat well. Lastly, the material has been cut accurately, completing an installation that is safe, effective, and visually pleasing. The very first step towards achieving this finished result is obtaining accurate dimensions of the mat well area and ordering materials correctly. The recess must be clear of other materials and all edges in place to measure to. Take care to obtain maximum dimensions to ensure material is adequately sized. Then, a clear sketch can be sent to the INTRAmatting production team, who will create a panel layout drawing in CAD and send this back for your final approval. Typically, the outside panels should be oversized by 15 to 20 mm, so that the matting can be cut into exact size on site. Following production, materials will be delivered to site, with every panel clearly identified to coordinate with the layout drawing and assist the fitting team in ensuring the materials are installed in the correct position. For highly shaped mat well areas, an INTRAmatting surveying team can visit site and take responsibility for ordering materials. Some key points to check before commencing works. A. Mat well is prepared to a level base the correct depth below finished floor level. B. All finished edges in place to fit to door thresholds, skirting boards, etc. C. Area is free from other trades. So here we are installing a 21 mm deep mat well frame and 18 mm matting. The depth seems good, but in some cases it will be necessary to pack up the framing to ensure the top edge is always flush with the finished floor. Typically, mat well framing is installed onto a screed base using screw and raw plug, but in areas where underfloor heating has been installed, a construction adhesive may be used. Once the framing is in place on all sides, the mat well base must be formed using a rapid set latex screed. This stage is critical in ensuring the final installation is snag-free. As aluminium matting is rigid, the base must be formed smooth and level to avoid movement. Once the latex is cured, we're ready to set out the mat well. In our example, the first stage is to fit the matting beyond the revolving door. To start with, find the center of the revolving door. Often, this is indicated by a mark on the ring. Then, referring to the panel drawing, calculate and mark on the mat well base where both edges of the center panel will be positioned, allowing an additional 5 mm either side for the T-bar. Now, obtain the overall dimension to the edge of the mat well. After checking that the sides are square, transpose the same dimension to the mat well edge furthest from the revolving door. Run a string line between the marks to create your datum line. The first side section can now be installed into position. Typically, these panels have been oversized and will therefore need cutting down to exact size, using a chop saw for best results. The T-bar should then be cut to length and positioned in place. We're now ready to install the center section of matting. These panels can be laid into position with no cutting until they meet the revolving door ring. We now need to form a simple template of the outside edge of the ring. An accurate model can be cut with a sharp knife, making sure the template is large enough to cover the extent of the required cut. Then, we need to establish 3 points where the panel will meet the ring. Placing a small section of matting into position, measure the distance from the panel edge and mark on the back of the piece to be cut. Repeat for the left-hand side. And then measure and mark where the center of the panel will meet the ring. Placing the template onto the panel, join the 3 points with a complete line. Using a jigsaw with a suitable metal cutting blade or a bandsaw, the cut can begin. It is important to cut from both directions, ensuring that the waste side of the cut is on the inside of the curve, thus helping avoid any damage to the section should the blade wander. The complete section can now be placed into position. Any final sizing adjustments can be made using a handheld grinder with abrasive disc if required. The panels either side of the ring can now be measured and marked in 2 places, and the template used to set out the curved cut. Where more complex shaping is required, a template of the complete section is advised. Once the center section is complete, the final side panels can be installed. Starting at the inside matwell edge, lay the panel into position and mark where each side will meet the matwell edge. Using a set angle to establish the angle between the 2 marks, the chop saw can be set up and used for fast and consistent cutting. The panels can continue to be measured, cut and installed up to the front matwell edge. And the last panel cut to the exact front to back dimension using a circular saw for best results. The matting can be installed around a column or pillar within the matwell area using a similar method to that used against the revolving door ring. Firstly, establish the diameter of the pillar, using a square edge off the adjacent frame edge and to each side of the pillar, and measuring the distance in between. A template must then be made, using a set of trammels or string and pencil to mark the template material before cutting with a sharp knife and checking fit. Using a small section of the matting to identify where the next panel will touch either side of the pillar and measuring back to the edge of the panel, mark the 2 points on the back of the panel to be cut. Mark on a 3rd point by measuring the distance between the last panel installed and the pillar, and then use the template to join all 3 points. The panel can now be cut to fit around the pillar, and the end to the required angle before installing into position. Smaller sections either side of the pillar can be cut using the same method, until the final panel closes the circle and the section can be completed in the normal way. The matting within the revolving door can then be installed. Firstly, establish the exact diameter of the ring. The matwell panels can then be laid out upside down in the final installation position with the T-bar in place and the diameter marked on the back of the matting. Then, measure the diameter of the central boss and mark this on the matting in the same way. The panels should then be cut and installed into position one by one, starting with the center panels and working around the central boss, ensuring the cutting is accurate before beginning the next panel. The INTRAform installation is then complete, ready for cleaning. The INTRAflex XT system is installed using the same principles as the INTRAform, but there are some key differences. The INTRAflex XT system consists of multiple aluminium profiles and connecting splines, with individual panels being constructed with up to 16 profiles. The panels must be handled with care to avoid damage to the connecting splines. Always lift the panels with the help of a colleague, keeping flat at all times. Before measuring and cutting, the panels must be checked to ensure they are square, and any variances caused in transport corrected. Cuts are best performed using a circular saw for straight cuts and a jigsaw or bandsaw for shaped cuts. Once the panels are cut to size, they are placed into position, ensuring the connecting spline is correctly inserted into the adjacent aluminium channel before gently forcing together using a rubber mallet. With the product fully installed, a final check of the key points is worthwhile. A. Flush with finished floor level on all sides. B. T-bars positioned correctly. C. Rib alignment has been achieved. D. All cuts are accurate and there are no shards of material or loose sections. All other systems within the INTRAmatting range are installed using the same principles. Please do not hesitate to contact our team to discuss a particular product. A thorough vacuum of the mat well and surrounding area helps prevent premature wear or damage to the product as the entrance is reopened, and use of a suitable protection material recommended if the project is still on site. The matting is designed for foot traffic and must be suitably protected with ply boarding should the need arise to bring heavy MUPs or similar equipment through the area. In the event that an area of INTRAmatting installation becomes damaged or suffers undue wear, smaller sections can be replaced without the need to renew the whole matwell area. For the INTRAflex XT matting, the splines either side of the damaged area are released using a sharp knife. The damaged section and part splines removed, and a new panel then connected into position. The INTRAform matting is simpler still. Release the panel containing the damage and replace with the new section.
Thank you very much for viewing this installation video. We've very much appreciated your time and we look forward to working with you and answering any questions you may have. Please feel free to phone us or email us on the following contact details. Thank you. Bye.